respect that we have for our clients or for our prospects that we work with on a regular basis. So I have to be vague on that, but I will tell you that all of our recruitment is targeted. The prospects we're going after have been vetted by the mayor, Lisa and Sue. So I will tell y'all we are working very, very closely right now with a brunch concept that has about 10 locations now. It's based out of Omaha. They're looking to expand pretty rapidly right now. And so their director of franchise development and myself connected probably 4 or 5 weeks ago through a hotel contact of mine. And she just kind of thought that there could be some overlap in what we do and what she does. And so what we've been doing is, kind of taking in site consideration for, future growth markets for them and kind of matching that up. They want to stay, in the state, kind of in the region. And so we think that, York is a great fit for them. They're a little bit flexible. They will do ground up development. They will also go in existing space, which is something that we will talk about here a little bit later is the need for more Class A retail space in this market, and some conversations that I'm having with some brokers and some developers right now. But, these conversations are going well. I do not have a timeline from them, but this is a market that they are interested in on the front end. And I will tell you that this would fill a need and a major void in this market from a breakfast brunch concept. And it would be something that, people would be excited about, because I understand there is a need for more sit-down restaurants. So a lot of good feedback from that brunch concept there. Also, working very closely with a sandwich user. They do need a franchisee for this market. I will tell you, our team is going to be at ICSC Las Vegas in May. That is the largest retail real estate show in the country, stands for International Council of Shopping Centers. We will be representing you while we're out there. And, in 2026, being able to give presentations like this virtually and us being able to meet with site selectors virtually is great. But still, the best way to get things done is direct, interaction and face-to-face meetings. So basically at this show, every retail real estate user out there, brokers, developers, from all over the country are going to be under one roof. Okay. And so we go out there, we represent our clients, we set meetings. And a few of these users that I'll mention today, we already have meetings set with for while we're out there. So that, like I mentioned, that show is in mid-May. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday show that is really the premier retail real estate show. So we're meeting with a handful of users while we're out there. So that sandwich user is one. They're one that needs about 1,600 to 1,800 square feet of existing space. They would like Class A space, like to be located around other national credit tenants from a retail perspective. In this market, that's not something you have an abundance of right now. So we're working on having some conversations with some brokers right now that have, some property listed in the market. Roughly 63.45 acres on, kind of some conceptual site plans on really about a 10,000 square foot strip center that we can go out and market because site selection is super scientific now. Each of these specific brands have exactly what they look for. So we have to be able to match the prospect with the site. And so we're having to kind of go around the other way and say, okay, how can we find the site, the developer to go in, inspect, and put together a site plan to where we can go out and find those retailers to get that specific development pre-leased before we would break ground. So that's that with that sandwich user. We're also working with a coffee user that when we first started recruiting for this market did not have a franchisee. That has since changed. There is a franchisee in place. They have told us that they will consider a ground up development deal. If they do ground up development, they would like to own the dirt. But they also said if it was a lease space option, they would consider an end cap with the drive-through. So end caps on these strip centers that I'm referencing are obviously the end units that have the ability for a drive-through. From a food perspective, drive-throughs are, the most sought after piece as it pertains to strip center development. Just because consumers are more likely to go through a drive-through in 2026 than they are to go inside. You got to think, especially in the morning, from a coffee perspective, how many people go into coffee versus go through the drive-through. So just taking that in consideration there, trying to spec some things out on what exactly these users need from a square footage standpoint. We're also having some super in-depth conversations, and have been for a number of months, with a hardware store. So this hardware store really put things on hold due to tariffs. During the back and forth and things, and have since started looking at some more sites for future locations. So our team has been working very, very closely with a listing broker in the market on existing space in town now. And if you've been going back and forth on square footage, the specific site that I'm referencing is kind of has a little bit of a different layout, and isn't perfect for this specific user, but we're trying to do everything that we can to make that work right now. We've had multiple calls with the tenant rep broker, and then also the broker on the site representation side. So those conversations have really, really picked up lately. I still think that there's a very, very good possibility we're going to get this deal done. These specific users, they stay alive by opening locations. In this specific user, they're behind due to the tariffs, and this is a great space for them. There's no restrictions, and then the lease rate is also very, very affordable for them. So I do think that this is a specific site that could work out for this user as we continue to push things along. Also working with a small scale grocer. We kind of been going back and forth with. They've been a little hot and cold on this market over the past few months. They are also somebody that we're going to be meeting with out in Vegas. We actually had a call discussing a specific site in town last week that's going to have some residential on it, but also a commercial component as well. And I've got that site recently sent over to this user. But like I mentioned, we're going to be meeting face to face with them in May at ICSC Las Vegas. This is a group that is opening some small scale grocers. They've really found that niche footprint in that 20 to 22,000 square foot range. They're opening a ton of locations across the country right now. And from a site standpoint, feel like York has a really, really good shot with what's available right now. Also working with a handful of chicken users as well for this specific market. A few of those that are on a lot of people's hot list. A good friend of mine on the tenant rep side that works at JLL reps one of these specific brands. We've had specific conversations. We've had specific conversations about sites, and continuing to push things along, continuing to keep them updated from a commercial perspective, but also a residential perspective as well. I mean, people ask me all the time, what comes first, residential or retail? And in 2026, residential does play a very, very large role in what comes with that on the retail side. So working with a few different chicken users there. Also another sandwich user too, that is also looking for some existing Class A retail space. He said, hey, we want to be here. This is a market we have a franchisee for, but we just don't have anywhere to put them. Okay. And so that's the information that we're taking along and putting in front of these brokers and these developers is like, hey, we can get this thing pre-leased for y'all. So we can have that space that fits the site criteria for some of these users. Also, another breakfast concept that is this very very well known kind of in this region, that's starting to do some smaller concepts. Typically they've been 4,500 square feet, and now they've kind of reduced that down. They were looking for 2,000 square feet. They can do in cap, inline. They'll do second generation quick service restaurant space. They're starting to realize as property costs goes up, construction costs goes up, they have to get a little bit more flexible with how they do things. And that's why we're seeing more of a movement from the standalone space to that lease option from a strip center standpoint. We're also working with some developers from a junior box clothing retail standpoint. We're going to be meeting with some individuals in Vegas that represent those specific brands. So it's not all restaurant driven. We're focused on some clothing as well, but in 2026, I would say in markets this size, 80 to 85% now is probably restaurant driven. But I do feel as if York has a strong possibility for some commercial soft goods clothing retail as well. Is especially along Tower and the amount of development property that you actually have out there. A lot of markets your size across the country, it's all redevelopment opportunities. It's your main thoroughfare that's built out with users that we would say aren't serving their highest and best use. In this market, that's not the case. It's a lot of ground up greenfield that really plays into the positives here. It's from a timing standpoint, and finding the right developer and getting these users interested. And then the last one I want to talk about is also a pizza user that has found a site in this market, and has told us that they will be coming. She has not given us a timeline. Our contact with this group is I would say a rule follower, and I respect that. And once a franchisee makes a decision, they will not disclose where that site is. But this is somebody that we've been working with on and off for about 10 months now. So just FYI on that. And then also working with a few casual sit down restaurants as well. The feedback on that front isn't quite as strong as it is for some of these other users. And that doesn't shock me. It's really just kind of a natural progression. As you continue to see, some of these other restaurant brands in the quick service side, start to locate first, and then, maybe you get a junior box development, and then these casual sit down restaurants, continue to expand. So we always knew going into that would be a little bit of a longer process. But just wanted to kind of give a full update on that. And then one last that I looked over that I want to mention is a Mexican food user on the kind of the quick service side, that is very very well respected nationally, that has started to look at this market a little bit really in the past 2 weeks. So from a city perspective, Lisa, Sue, Barry, these are some of the things that we have not even talked about yet. So the feedback, the traction is good, just continuing to move things forward. Really looking forward to ICSC and taking some of that momentum into that show while we're out there. So happy to answer some questions that council might have.
Well, Kyle, thanks a lot for the update, and the council going to have questions, but I just want to mention I was at the middle school the first of the week, and if you don't get me a chicken restaurant pretty soon, I'm not going to be able to show my face around the middle school very much longer, because it's they're starting to say you've promised and you've said things, and I'm going to need this chicken restaurant.
Hey, Mayor, we're on the same page, and what's odd about this market is I kind of call it the 3 C's of retail right now. It's chicken, coffee, and car washes, and that's that's basically, a void for you on the chicken side. And that's how we're marketing it is saying, hey, you can come in and you can own this market from a chicken perspective. And so, Mayor, we're for sure on the same page there, no doubt.
I appreciate that.
And it's number one on our
They're
list.
starting to stare me down, kind of, and getting a little nervous.
No,
So
I
anybody-
completely understand.
Anybody have any questions for Kyle? They've got a lot of stuff going on, and we have a touch base every month, and Lisa probably more often. So
Yeah.
lots of communication. So I know they're trying to. It takes a while to get these deals done.
Yeah, and Mayor, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I should have mentioned that too. Is we talk on a regular basis. Lisa and I talk even more. Whether it's a phone call or texting back and forth, and when we're working with these restaurant users and these specifically franchise-based concepts, these franchisees, they go under development agreements, okay? And oftentimes we're not at liberty to know what those development agreements might be. It could be 3 stores over 5 years, okay? And their territory could cover York and 2 other markets, and they could come to me and say, hey, well, we're going to do this market before we do York. And we go back and say, hey, well, how can we help speed up that process to get, York at the top of the list? So, and at the end of the day, they might only do 1 store a year. So, it's all about timeline. It's all about getting on everybody's radar, getting on everybody's list, slowly chipping away, having the conversations, planting that seed and letting it grow.
Council, any other questions, Kyle? Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll hope to see you in person the next time.
Perfect. I'll be there.
Yes.
Thank you all.
We have a question from the audience. Willard.
You want me to come up there?
I would love for you to come up there.
No.
I did. No, come up so we can hear you for sure.
I was trying to figure out for sure where the public comment was okay, and I guess it is now. But to go along with Barry's idea, can you see me? Mr.
I can.
Mr. What's his name?
Kyle.
Kyle. We need a fish place.
Got it.
I knew he'd have something to say, so.
2.
Thank you, Kyle.
Chicken's fine, we need fish.
Got it. Hey, Mayor, thank y'all.
Yeah, thank
and like I
you.
said, if y'all need anything from me, feel free to reach out.
We'll touch base soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind, water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property values and hence the economic vitality of the business areas and beautify our community, and whereas trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, and whereas the city of York has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting ways, now therefore I, Barry Redfern, Mayor of the City of York, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day. Would you please approve that?
I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Amanda.
Shepherd. Yes. Clostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Sure.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Our next agenda item is to consider approval of a bid from JLC Inc. for the replacement of 7 doors at the wastewater pump station in the amount of $32,935. James.
Yes, we put this out to bid. We did receive 2 bids back. One of the bids we had to not consider because in their bid package, it said that it does not include masonry work. And that was one of the requirements, was some masonry work will have to be completed on this project. That was one of the requirements. So, the JLC bid, is on the agenda for approval, and these doors, so currently at the pump station or the old wastewater treatment facility, we have some personnel doors that don't shut properly and some that just get jammed up. With this too, we are actually creating a double door scenario to help us get pumps in and out of the pump station a little bit easier. Because right now there's not much play there, trying to get them in and out of the door. So,
So most of these are just regular sized doors we're replacing?
yes, correct. Yep.
Expensive for just replacing some doors.
There's masonry work that needs to be done too. Some of the issues are because of the door jams. I mean, those doors have been, I'd hate to see how long they've been there. One of them, I would say the one on the north side of the building, has been a security issue. I know that PD has been having to check on that, frequently to ensure that it's still secure. And that is where we're actually planning on putting the double door.
Any other questions of James?
We do have, $30,000 in the budget for this. Budgeted.
Move for approval?
Motion is second. Any further comments or questions? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Pelletier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
Our next agenda item is consideration to recommend Damaris Pollock, of the Elks BPO York Lodge, 1024, 121 West Sixth Street, as manager of the retail Class C liquor license 002460. So I know that she has been hired as the new manager of the Elks Club, and so this would be a requirement of that. There were no issues that were pointed out that would prevent her from holding this license.
I move for approval.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any further comment? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Pelletier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
Next, we need to consider approval of a quote from Wilkins Industries, Inc. for a transfer station trailer for the landfill in the amount of $115,571. James?
Yep, so this is a walking floor trailer that hooks up to our transfer station compactor. And then I did get confirmation from the landfill staff that the measurements are correct and that this will fit our equipment. We did not go out to bid for this. We were looking something that would fit our current equipment out there, so we didn't have to do a bunch of modifications on it. And like I said, I verified with them again today that these measurements are correct and it will work for our current system.
Remind me, James, we budgeted
We budgeted
$115,000 for this, so we're right there.
So for the record, I want to confirm I want to reiterate the recommendation by the Director of Public Works that is in the city's best interest to agree with this contract, and that there are reasons that it did not go out to bid in the city's best interest, specifically in this case, the need for it to fit the other existing equipment. I did not.
Thank you.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further comments? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Pelletier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
Next, we need to consider approving of shifting the life, vision, and dental insurance coverage to principal. I would turn that over to somebody on the insurance. Why, thank you. Hi.
Hi. The insurance committee did meet a couple weeks ago with Ben Roll and Todd Venucci. And as we're working through our medical contract right now, they were able to get us a significant savings in our vision, dental, and life insurance. If we transfer over to Principal, it would be taking 3 vendors into 1 vendor. And so the insurance committee did get to see these savings in that meeting. What we're trying to do now is if we could get approval to go forward with that dental vision life policy, that would give them time to get the contracts ready and get training to employees so that it'd be effective May 1st. We will be meeting next week to talk about medical insurance renewal, but this is just life, vision, and dental, and it's a significant savings to employees and the city. So by going to 1 vendor. So.
Great. That sounds good. Any comments from anyone?
Was there any discussion on, I mean, the insurance companies are notorious for offering a deep discount first year and then all of a sudden they're back up the next year. I mean, how did Ben feel about, you know,
Right,
the fact
this
that
is, they're actually willing to give us a 20-year contract.
Oh, really?
20, not 20 years, 20 months, sorry.
Okay.
20-month contract, yeah.
But they can't, they won't increase.
Yeah.
And then they go by claims and probably to, or, well, we won't know.
Not as much, I don't know on these.
We put it back out to bid again.
Right.
Just they run hot.
Because right now, some of these, we're self-funding too, so we could always. go
The
back.
dental.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
right.
Yeah.
It'll take this, and the coverage will be the same as what we have. There's no change in coverage, it's just the significant savings. So.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. I guess I don't think anyone saw any downside to doing this. It was a good thing. They just need to get a start at it. So I would look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comment? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
We need to consider approval of the payment request drawdown number 6 for 24 downtown redevelopment 006 payable to Crawfick Properties LLC in the amount of $52,468.09. These are ones that we've approved already, but now they want us to go through when we make the final payments and have that approved by the council. So we've done a few of these before. Is there any question on this for Amanda?
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further comment? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
Next, we need to consider approval of resolution 2026-4, declaring certain city property surplus and authorizing disposition of that surplus property. What was it?
A couple old cruisers that, one came from PD, the other one was at the fire department, and then some library tables and chairs.
Very good.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Comments? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
Next is consider approval of resolution 2026-8, adopting and approving the execution of an agency agreement with the Nebraska Department of Transportation, Division of Aeronautics for the project number 331-0104-020-021, 2026 to obtain federal assistance for the development of the airport. James, it's a lot of numbers.
Yeah, it's a good amount. So this agreement just, is saying that the city allows the, Nebraska Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division to work through the federal government and divvy that, federal money out. This is also for engineering services for the design of the runway reconstruction and the bidding process. So once that's all completed, then we should be possibly seeing another grant for whenever the construction rolls around for the runway. And then there's like 6 or 7 certifications that need to be signed off by the mayor as well. Conflict of interest and all that other stuff.
It was also discussed at the asset committee that this is a match, but it's not, it's like this,
It's our normal match. Yep,
Or 10% to their 90%.
correct.
Any other questions, James?
And then I guess one other
Oh,
thing
go
that
ahead.
we'll have to do after this is the next step is actually to have negotiations with our airport consultant to discuss fees, engineering fees. So that'll be, after this is completed, then the next step is to get together with the airport consultant. And because there is a third-party fee estimate that is put together, and so then we have negotiations with our airport consultant on what those engineering fees look like after this paperwork is completed.
but pretty much this project will fall in line with that 90-10-90. I mean, as we go along.
Correct.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
We need a motion.
I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further comment? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
Our next item is consider approval of resolution 2026-9, preliminary engineering service agreement supplement agreement, BK 2301-003. Dr. Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This is a agreement to allow about $35,000 of grant funding to pay for engineering to add a bid alternate to the bid for the huge trail and bridge project that's going out in October of this year for bid. So this will allow NDOT on our behalf to pay engineers to put together the engineering for a bid alternate inside that bid, so that when people bid on that project, they will bid, here's the price if we add lights along the trail, and here's the price without them. And then when we see what that price is and what we have in our budget, then we will determine if that's doable or not. Basically, the main thing that a big part of what's been done so far is utility relocates. And the good news is they've taken less money than expected, which created the possibility that there might be enough funds to add this to the project. We don't know cost.
But they
until bid
came,
comes.
yeah, they kind of came back to us and said that it looks like, if we were to engineer this, the possibility existed, there might be room. So if we don't engineer it and put it in there, then it can't be part of the project.
That's the kicker.
Yeah. So we may or may not do it, but we have to get it engineered and the grant funds can pay for it.
I guess I'm concerned with this. I mean, for 35,000 for what they're offering, it feels like they've got our feet over a fire and they're just jacking up, because I don't see how we need 198 hours to add solar lights. There's no wiring. There's no engineering that realistically needs to be done. We're talking about adding solar lights on there, and that 35,000 can go a lot further and actually expanding the trail system, doing something that actually could be used. I don't see where they're getting 198 hours worth of engineering work to justify a $35,000 price tag, other than because it's grant funded.
Well, as you know, they're following the federal grant, and we've got Nebraska Department of Transportation overseeing all of these bids. So I'm not qualified to answer that question for you, but that's why we've had, I guess, these checks and balances in place the whole time, so that we know. Everything seems to cost a lot. I understand.
But you're talking about a pole, there's no electrical, there's nothing.
I mean, I think you had this question, and I think Pat, sent out, that it has to follow all of these different things. And I realize that it's a lot of money, but if we don't do it, you can't pay for it part of the grant.
So part of the requirements of the grant is that everything meets the standards, federal standards, trail standards. So what those standards are for lights, I don't know.
And then
But that's their responsibility to know, as well as the BABA requirements and other requirements in terms of what kinds of things can be used. And so it's their job to build all of those details into the bid. And that's what they have estimated that it costs. NDOT has been very good working with us when they feel like we should say no to the engineers. They've said, hey, you should do that, or they've been helping us, like, hey, maybe you should push this out or consider whether you should do this another way. They had and they were involved in those conversations and had no concerns about it, so that's
So
why we brought it.
if we don't do this and there is extra money left in the grant, can we use it for other stuff or is this,
I mean, only for the stuff that's bid.
yeah?
Yeah.
So
But whatever we use it for has to be already pre-engineered.
But that's why this has to be engineered and bid. We don't want to keep that extra money and
Yeah.
use it for whatever we want later.
But it could be returned if we didn't use it for something to the
But it
taxpayers.
won't come to us.
That'd be good, but it becomes our federal taxes we pay, so we get.
But then if we wanted to light the trail, we have to pay for the engineering and the federal guidelines
No.
and then the light.
We wouldn't have to follow the federal guidelines at that point. We could just do it ourselves for a fraction of the cost.
Well, I mean, your fraction of the cost was still that you had an estimate was still like $148,000. And you just reached out to one provider that really didn't have any bid specs, so we can't do it that way. I mean, we would have to put it out for bid, still get it engineered and have somebody do it, and we have no idea what that cost might be down the road. I mean, it seems as if they think that if we can save these dollars, if we're gonna save dollars that were maybe thought to be spent on something else and provide this, then it seems that it fits the use of the grant very well.
Well, at the asset committee, we also talked about the fact that this has to, at some point, we gotta figure out how much they cost and what it's gonna cost to do anyway. So why not use the grant money to do it versus our money to do it later?
If we don't end up doing it, at least we'll know what the project would
We'll
be.
know exactly what it costs at least.
And it would make sense, but I just feel like,
So if we needed to put it in our budget, we'd
Yeah.
already be done. That work would already be done as
Yeah.
well. And we know that's gonna cost something as well anyway.
I just haven't seen it justified where they're getting 198 hours of work for. It's not like they're gonna redesign anything. They're just literally putting, here's where we're gonna put a light every 30 feet along the path on the blueprints.
And again, I'm not an engineer and I can't do it, but we had
I
the,
bet the feds don't think it that way.
and we had the Department of Transportation oversee this as they have with all of the engineering bills on this. And so I'm not disagreeing that everything seems to cost a lot. I'm not
They
disagreeing
see
with
grant
that.
money, they see government funded, and it seems like this is over costing for because of that. But
Any other discussion? I guess I'd look for a motion.
I move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further comment? Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
no,
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez. Yes.
Motion passes. Our last agenda item. Consider approval of resolution 2026-10, a joint resolution between the city council of the city of York, Nebraska, and the York Public School Board of Education pledging $500,000 in support of the Southeast Community College Workforce Development Center. Mitch, thank you for being patient and coming tonight. If you would you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Mitch Bartholomew, 1720 Duke Circle, York, Nebraska.
Mitch was willing to come here tonight. He's been involved in this project for many, many years and was just going to give his feelings on this and kind of some facts for you. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for the opportunity. Lisa and I are going to tag team this. And so for starters, one thing that I learned several months ago is Lisa and I have talked about this a lot. And so we've tried to tailor our comments to the audience and so on. And so forgive me, but I'm going to kind of read through some bullet points. But that way we're making sure that we get to what we feel is important for city council, for you. And then obviously if there's questions at the end, we're happy to answer those. So for the first time in a decade, we have an opportunity here to partner with SEC to expand the Learning Center to a one-of-a-kind York Regional Workforce Development Center, which would include the SEC Learning Center as well. Financially, SEC is currently modeling a $6 to $7 million contribution to get this started. And we have to close a gap to 10 million. So there's 6 to 7, and then locally 3 to 4. And right now we're 2/3 of the way there. And so we're happy about that, but we know we still have a ways to go. These funds will allow us to build up to around a 20,000 square foot building around that $10 million mark. But Lisa and I have went and toured a couple different places, and we do believe ultimately we would love to see this around the 30 to 35 to 40,000 square foot, at some point in time. But we do feel like we could start at a good mark around that 20,000. The city's partnership with LB 357 funds into the infrastructure allows us to close that gap sooner, making this a realistic project to move us into that final fundraising cycle. Anything raised over the 10, like I said, would be able to contribute to additional square footage, equipment needed, those type of things. I think one of the very important things is the vision of this. I think one thing to be noted is there is nothing like this in Nebraska, nothing. What I mean by that is it's a regional concept, and it focuses on teenage learners and adult learners, and it's skill development for our workforce. So this is about one thing. This is about ensuring the York region has the workforce it needs to compete and grow today and into the future. Over the past 2 years, the vision has been shaped alongside our industries in the region, Southeast Community College, and other school partners. What we've built is not just a concept, it's a response to real workforce gaps we're hearing from employers across our region. This center is a strategic partnership between York Public Schools, Southeast Community College, and York County Development Corporation. It definitely represents a shift from traditional education to a collaborative workforce ecosystem where industry helps shape curriculum, engages with students early, and builds its future workforce locally. This will be a future-ready hub focused on high-demand sectors, including advanced manufacturing, automation, and healthcare. From an educational standpoint, obviously where I'm coming from, first of all, with teenage learners. So not only will it provide dual credit offerings for York students, but also regional students. And so that is not a concept that is used to in public education. And so that is something on my end that I've already started working with our commissioner of the Department of Education, local regional superintendents as well. And so the idea of it is you take a student that's at McCool, for example. McCool, being a smaller school, doesn't have the human bandwidth or capacity of programs that will be offered in here. And so if Stephen Postier is a student at McCool High School, he would have the opportunity to enroll himself within one of these programs while still taking the graduation requirements or whatever he wants to at McCool. On the adult side, it's really about adults and incumbents upskilling. The center provides life-changing opportunities for adult learners, career changers, and current workers to reskill for Industry 5.0 and modern technology standards. It would include a state-of-the-art lab. Students will train in high-tech simulation centers and labs that mirror modern workplace environments, such as the interprofessional simulation across SEC health science programs. The last thing that I would add too is one of the things that we're very proud of at York Public Schools, especially through York High School, is our business partnerships. While we are taking our kids and we are allowing them to go into our community and work on those skills, that they're interested in, and so they can learn from our industries. And so this apprenticeship program now SEC has tagged along with, and so that's just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So from an educational standpoint, like I said, and I'll turn this over to Lisa from the economic side of it, is being first in something is good and bad, right? And so what we really need to do is we really need to get to that $10 million mark. And then that triggers a lot of things. That triggers SEC Board of Directors get involved. It triggers the York Public Schools Board of Education get involved, as they have verbally committed to donating the land, which is right across the street from my office to the south. So it would be on York Public Schools campus. And we feel that that is a great thing, not only for our students, but for our community.
Thank you. Just for the record, Amanda, Lisa Hurley, York County Development.
Thank you, Lisa.
At the core, this is really truly an economic development project. We consistently hear the same challenges from our employers, no matter what the sector is. It's workforce availability, workforce training, and this addresses both of those. The center directly addresses the critical labor shortages that we see in our region, particularly in manufacturing and healthcare. Arguably two of York County's most important industries. Because on the manufacturing, we have the egg that's our manufacturers, a lot of them are working with. It strengthens our ability as a city and a county and a region to retain and expand our existing workforce or existing industries and businesses, attract new companies who are looking for communities that are investing in workforce and training, and to support entrepreneurs who are starting to grow in York County and need to take some programming so they're stronger business owners as they go on. It also builds clear pathways into high-wage careers. Healthcare, we're looking at nursing assistants, registered nurses, lab technicians, respiratory therapists. The allied health services will be relocated here. The new facility will allow it to grow. What that means is those CNNs who grew up and don't have a car to drive into Lincoln for nursing school will just be able to do it here in York, do their clinical hours at York General or maybe Henderson Healthcare or a nursing home somewhere. They'll be able to integrate into our business community. And then we keep them. Our businesses, some of them pay for continuing education. So that gives us a strong opportunity to keep some of these kids here in the community. On the manufacturing side, we're looking at robotics, we're looking at CNC operations, automation, and smart manufacturing systems. With AI and robotics automation, our industries are changing so fast. And a red flag is when our industries are not upgrading their equipment. That's when we're at risk of losing them, and they have to be able to train staff to upgrade their equipment. So this is going to allow that flexibility for them to do it here. This is how we move the economy forward, by directly aligning our training with the real jobs and the real opportunities that are here right now and that are coming in our current industries and future industries. Sustainability and community commitment on this. By this being an SEC-owned facility, we're able to access their staffing, their instructors, their admin, all of that. It takes it off of the public schools. It allows any of the school districts to participate with it. And I can tell you, none of our school districts can hire all the teachers they need. So this opens up to a wide range of teachers. And that's where it becomes their faculty and their programming making this sustainable and making them able to pivot as our economy pivots over the next several generations. By doing this, we are building a long-term sustainable workforce solution and not just a short-term fix. We've done manufacturing boot camp academy. We do classes all the time, but this is that backbone, that infrastructure backbone that's supporting our, whether it's our youth or it's somebody that wants to change career or a business that needs to upskill their employees. It builds that background. So it's not that short-term, immediate fix. We know this model works. SEC programming in their healthcare show nearly 100% job placement rate, majority of it right here in Nebraska. So let's get them into our area of businesses. This is bold. This is a bold investment in our community. It's a bold investment in education and taking a different model. Innovation is a great thing. It's how we're going to succeed as we go forward. It's really not just about a building. It's about building a workforce pipeline, supporting our employers and creating long-term opportunities for our residents. It is where workforce meets infrastructure and where opportunity meets quality of life. Projects like this just don't happen without strong local partnerships. I mean, Mitch and I, the number of meetings we've been in the last 2 years, to get it to the point where we're talking this publicly about it, we're confident talking about it this publicly, it's amazing, but your support will help move this vision to reality. And I want to say thank you. I know you hear lots of big ideas from both of us over the years. But together we have we have an opportunity to position our region as a leader. Not only in workforce development, but to remain a place to grow and thrive in your family and your business. And we open for any questions you guys have.
Correct me if I'm wrong, did you say that, so yes, it's for high school students, is this also for just any community member that wants to go back? Okay,
Yeah,
we talked about
yeah.
transitioning. For
So,
So high schoolers would be integrated with those two?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very possible that in certain scenarios, we may have your 17-year-olds standing right next to your 35-year-old that's transitioning, into fabrication.
Yeah.
Or manufacturing or automation. So that's a unique thing,
Yeah.
right? The other thing too is when, for adult education, non-credit courses and so on, when adult education was at York Middle School, it was the highest count population for SEC when at York Middle School, and as that has transitioned to different places, that count has dropped. It is a little higher now that it's downtown, but that's one of the things they're looking forward to as well, is seeing if on our campus, if that'll increase that adult education as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unique, and over a decade ago, before we even had the Learning Center, and we were talking about a workforce development center, the possibility of putting them both in the same facility, open hours, was just not, it was a hard no. We close it at 5 to high school students and then open up maybe potentially, but it was 10 years ago, it was a hard no. We're not putting them in the same facility. So things have come a long way over the last decade.
On that note, could you possibly address the idea, I've already had questions about it, and I don't know how to really answer the fact that, how would the structure work? It's not run through the York Public School system at all, and it's mostly, but it's just integrated through SEC,
Yes.
correct? And they're the ones that's gonna have the land, the building and everything, the controls, right? It's just the integration of everything that can come together, right?
Yeah.
So we're not putting this on the taxpayers, type situation,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
I just wanted to clarify that, thank you.
That is
All
correct.
the staffing, the programming will all go through SEC, just like anything else.
Right.
Diane will have a bigger building, and I'm sure there'll be additional staff, full-time staff in there to help it run. The SINCAP program, I would assume our individual schools will still have SINCAP classes in their schools, but you'll also have SINCAP in the robotics lab,
Right.
in the Workforce Development Center. That can be joined by students from 3 different schools or 4 different schools.
So it might be happening that York Public has to pay that for them classes for their kids, or their kids have to pay with their own.
Correct. Yeah, there, in some cases, there is tuition.
Right.
Correct, for adults and for students.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
SINCAP is dual tuition. I mean, there's parents are paying the tuition.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
And there's some foundation money, I think, that helps with some of it.
Or even businesses. pay.
An employer, a lot of employer paid, I'm
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be huge.
The Department of Labor has some funding to help with tuition for people that qualify as well.
Right.
So nothing is free. We all know that. But this is we can't let this slip back at this point as far as we've come.
What's the time frame look like right now? I mean, I know there's a lot of moving parts to get to where you.
As soon as we hit 3 million, it gets scheduled to go to the Board of Directors for SCC. So that would be hopefully May.
June, probably June. I would love to be there in May.
So one other context piece of this, the LB 357 committee met last week. And half of them are gone tonight, but half of them are here. So we have 4 city council members and 2 school board members. That is the group, that's the committee for this interlocal agreement between the city and the school. They meet regularly to review sales tax revenues and consider proposals like these. And ensure that the ideas actually have revenue, sufficient revenue.
So the LB 357 committee did meet last week, and Mitch Bartholomew came and gave us the same talk and about what it is and what they're trying to do and how long it's taken to get to this get to this point of talking donations. So in the LB 357 fund, we have enough money to pay all of our bonds. We have the wonderful Pelly spreadsheet, right, that shows us everything. We will have with the projection, excuse me, of the 2.5 that she puts in there. We will have enough money to cover the bonds for the fire department, the ball complex, everything that we've bought. We do have money that, because some sales taxes are over, there's extra money. In that LB 357, for community infrastructure, you know, we've done other projects with the school, Levitt Stadium, you know, things like that. There is money right now for us to commit $500,000 to this project out of the LB 357 funds that we currently have, without causing any negatives, without not being able to pay anything. And that is why the LB 357, Tony is the other counterpart that's not here tonight. But we agreed that this would be a great thing for that extra money that is sitting there. I'm not quite sure what's going on in the legislature, but I heard a little bit of something. It sounded like we need as a community and the LB 357, tell me if I'm saying this incorrectly, Sue, that there is something out there that they're trying to get through, that if we have extras, it just needs to go to the state if we don't spend it. Is that kind of like?
I have no
what?
idea. I don't remember.
That's kind of what I've heard, is like, because this is what we set our LB 357 money at. We've gotten it.
Well, until we figure that out, let's spend it.
Okay, that's. That was the other thing, is that money is York's money for
Yeah,
LB
yes.
57 for community things. So we think this would be a great thing. I do know people like from the hospital that are taking classes online. They drive to Lincoln for clinicals, they go here, they go there. But York General has been great for that healthcare part of getting students their clinicals here without them having to go to Lincoln every day. So I honestly think this is a great avenue for furthering education. So I fully support this and very excited about it.
Jennifer, on the committee, is there any other projects that, we're competing against that for, this on this level that it would even?
No,
would be sorted or
this,
anything for the fund?
at this point.
I didn't know if there was any others.
We'll be a little quiet there for a while.
Well,
I was
that's
just saying,
after
yeah,
this.
at this point, there hasn't been anything come to us that says, hey, if you have extra money,
good.
this is it. This is.
That's what I
you
I don't know if there's gonna be upset people if we would be taken away from them or for something.
No, it's
Right.
just mostly coming out of the reserves. We've got reserves in there still, in addition that, if we go through a recession, our sales tax drop, and so the future projected goes down, we still have reserves enough to cover the bonds for substantial periods. So we felt there was enough to pull out this and still have a healthy reserve account.
I think this is, it's an investment. We've done a lot of great things where we've made improvements and things, but this is truly an investment in people. And it checks like every box you can think of, from economic development to education to quality of life to right down the deal. I don't know anything else we could do that's better than this.
And everything's good with it, Charlie?
We're pretty sure.
We're pretty sure. Okay. Pretty sure is better than not sure at all.
Yeah.
it's not as simple as it looks, but it's my opinion that it's authorized by state law, by our city ordinance that implemented the additional 1/2 cent sales tax. As Lisa and I think Mitch said, this has really not been done.
We're breaking some
anywhere else in
ground.
the state, so we don't really have any precedent to go by. But I think it meets the parameters of the statute in our city ordinance.
And I mean, I think the give back here, and also the give back to the surrounding towns around us, to the surrounding schools, the surrounding hospitals, all the people that come to York, that pay sales tax here, having this money go back to that, I think, it just checks every box.
And the safety part of this, where the 357 funds is the SEC high level, their staff, I mean, it's not been engineered yet, but they're estimating about $1 million in the infrastructure cost. The dirt work, the sewer, all the driveways, all of that.
That would
stuff.
qualify.
So the infrastructure is very clearly eligible in this, so that's a safe spot, that's where the 357 would go. It's not going into the building, but it's still.
Yeah, Will, do you have a comment? I didn't want your hand to go numb with your arm up back there.
Willard, I forgot to tell you who I was last time.
Please do.
Willard Peterson from Bradshaw, Nebraska.
But it's
I only had 2 points until some things brought up here, and it'll fine. I think I can put this whole thing right over the top for you. Number one, when Councilman Shepherd mentioned it's York's money, some of it's mine, but I gave it. And the mayor referred to that a little with other people. I appreciate that. I have been, not to you guys so much, but to other people, I've been a real outspoken person against your city sales tax. I'm not a fan of it, never have been. If you put this 500,000 bucks into this thing, I will shut up for quite a while. on that topic.
If I had a vote, that'd put it over the top for me, Will.
On that topic.
That for sure would put it over the top for me.
But thinking in terms of, I taught school from 1970 to 2010, and I'm just thinking of the opportunities these students are gonna have. It makes me cry, because I can think of 100, 200 kids that I taught that their life would have been so much better with some, and most of them turned out pretty good, but something like this would be great. And the last point I want to make is, the most important part of this is, we get these kids trained for good jobs, and as like Lisa or somebody said, liable to keep them here, good jobs, paying into Social Security, so my Social Security keeps getting paid.
Thank you, Willard. Any other questions, council?
I just want to comment that, when I heard Mitch kind of spill the beans a little while ago, back when I was long ago a JAG specialist, about SEC, I just thought how great of an opportunity, because I've taken students to healthcare days through SEC, and I've taken them to manufacturing days, and the amount of hands-on training that they provide their students is honestly blown away. And those are like they were my students' favorite days, was that type of learning. So yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comment? Hearing none, Amanda?
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you all. That brings us to the end of our agenda. We are adjourned. Thank you all for being here.